Welcome back to our weekly energy update for energetically sensitives and empaths. My name is bryndis, and I'm an energy healer and energy worker, and most of you know me. I've been doing this for years. We're doing a short overview here over the next week, 20th till 26th of October, what this means for energetically sensitive and empaths, how this may translate in your personal life. And I really want you guys to ask questions. Let me know how you are feeling, let me know where you are watching from, and use this as a live Q&A, really, as far as like energetic sensations is concerned, as far as like stuff that you've always wanted to know. Okay, so we're just going to dive in here, looking at this existing week. And guys, I don't know about you, who's felt this too. There has been quite a little bit of fogginess. We talked about this last week a little bit, so I talked about this overlay that is coming in, where we're really going to be forced, to stay in our center and to balance all these reactive type of things. And for some of us, actually, the majority of the people that I've been working with this last week, it actually translated in sort of a haze. Okay, so this like super tiredness and almost unable to function physically. So who's had something like that, where you actually experienced massive just not really feeling like you can function. You felt like there's something else controlling you. Oh my, yes. Okay, so I named the energy update for this week Forces of Control, and it's not what you think. I want to talk about the things that can control our energy, but not in the sense of conspiracy theory. Now, a few words here about conspiracy theory, because I keep on getting these emails and questions. Why do you not believe in conspiracy theory? I tell you what my issue is with conspiracy theories. So first of all, they don't calibrate very high as far as their energetic power is concerned. This is not, though, and this is what you guys have to understand, because of the content, because of, like, say, the information that is in there. It is about the intention and the agenda behind it. Okay, so if I get hooked onto conspiracy theories to prove, that the American government has been fooling us all along, or something like that, all right? What is it really that I'm trying to do with this? I'm trying to confirm that I am a victim, that I have been fooled, that, that I was somehow controlled from the outside. And by getting hooked onto this, and by fixating on this, okay, I'm actually feeding this energy. Not only the forces that control, but also I'm feeding that anger and that victim energy within myself. And this is why I have on numerous times, made comments about conspiracy theories, to not get hooked up on those, okay? To don't, there's truth to probably all conspiracy theories, no matter how woo-woo they sound. Okay, there are some aspects of it that definitely calibrate as true, okay? But it is not about the content in there. The conspiracy theory problem is that the people all get riled up, and they get polarized, and they get pulled back into their ego, just a different variation, of the theme. And therefore, it's not actually helping you, okay? Allow all truth to come forward when the collective is ready for it. This is happening right now. We're seeing this big time right now. Yes, guys, headache. Me too. Really bad. Okay, that was last week's empath symptom here. Yes, you almost had to go to the ER, Louisa. Sorry for that. It was very difficult last week for energetically sensitives. Yes, Cindy, and this feeling that there's something looming. Okay, so this is what this is where we get pulled into stuff. Okay, this is when we start reading up all the conspiracy stuff, and this is when we get sort of latch on to all these things that these outlets that somehow want to come up with what is going on, because we all feel this as empaths. We're naturally precognitive. We all feel that, there's a certain sense of well, not emergency, a sense of urgency coming in. And this is why I do these energy updates for you guys. For years I've been talking about collective energies, it was sort of as energetic weather conditions. So as empath, as energetically sensitive, you will always be more subjected to this. And the problem with this is that you will be confused, because you won't be able to discern whether this is yours or whether this is something coming in from the outside, say the collective, or whether you just absorbed your neighbor's energy that you just talked to. Sometimes sleeping for an energetically sensitive can be very grounding and very centering, okay? And that's, something that we, especially those of us with a strong performance code, that we really have to accept, that our energy cannot be lied to, our energy cannot be fooled, all right? If there is an issue, that requires us to clear or to ground, then we have to pay attention to it. If we don't pay attention to it, we're going to end up with physical symptoms, and a lot of you guys is chronic symptoms, okay? Chronic issues that you have to do with suppressing that. So what I mean to say with those of us with the performance is to take a nap, or to do like a 10-minute mini meditation is not inefficient, guys. It's more efficient than trying to muscling through. This is what we really need to understand. Your energy is what controls everything. It controls your physical, it controls your emotional, even your thoughts, and your outlook on life, and how you see other people, and how you see your own future. So this whole programming here, of like go, 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 and doing harder and being more spiritual, and is a total con job, guys. To control you into constantly thinking that you're not good enough. So take energy management seriously. If you feel like you're tired and you can't function, I know it's not always possible, but if it is possible for you, then do it. Take a 10-minute or 20-minute nap. Do a 10-minute mini meditation. Arrange your day accordingly. Most of you will find out that you have specific times of the day where you feel that. It's totally okay. Don't try to muscle through with more espressos. I do this, and I'm not recommending this, but I also have a very well-functioning energy management, so I can do a clearing on myself within, like basically 2 minutes, okay? So I teach you how to do this too, but you're going to have to take this seriously to be able to better deal with all these energetic ups and downs and shifts and changes, and we are here in the process of a really big transformation. Okay, so you better learn this. Yes, it becomes painful when you resist. Exactly. So this is where energy training comes in, and all the stuff that we offer here at transCODES, as a platform for people who are awakening to their energetic sensitivity. There are tools there. Those are natural abilities that we have. We've just never been taught, how to use them. And if you will, in that way, esotericism, esotericism in its essence means, only making knowledge or information accessible for a few chosen ones, is perhaps, one of the greatest conspiracy theories to be uncovered, because it really isn't anything that should be available for only a few chosen ones. Now, why was this? There is a reason for this, and I really need you guys to understand this, because when it comes to relaying information, when it comes to distributing information, and we get to this here in the preview for next week, there is a responsibility that comes with this. There is information out there that cannot really be processed by the overall population, all right, when the consciousness level is not high enough. A good example is all the spiritual talk, and the stuff that even I talk about, higher vibrational aspects of things. If I talk about grace and divinity and, forgiveness and compassion, it sounds like what you've heard before, but, I'm really talking about the higher vibrational expressions of those, and these have nothing to do with like church or religion or anything like that. And so there is a certain conscious level that is needed, to be able to feel, to sense, the consciousness level of the information. And when that is not given, when the overall collective is not vibrating high enough, any type of information that goes into self-control, sovereignty, and so forth will be misused. Who will it be misused by? By those few who understand it, by those few, who know how to use this. And we are right on the brink here as a collective, to really step past this barrier of truth, in a good way, okay? So even though most of us feel like everything's deteriorating and it's getting really theatrical out there, those are just really the correctional symptoms that you see, because eventually this will lead to us as a whole collective, being willing to accept truth on a much higher vibratory level. But up until now, it really hasn't been the case. So, when it comes to these conspiracy theories, and when it comes to deciding what information is really digestible, okay, this is where we have the problem, and this is where the control and the misuse of control, the misuse of power comes in. This is what we're experiencing right now, okay? There is a control of information. There's an info war out there, okay? Never in the history of humanity have we had information at your fingertips like we do today with the internet. Never did we have this situation where you actually have to filter stuff all the time, because in the old days, it was just the information was distributed through books, and you had to either have the key to the library, or you have to have the money to buy those. And so esotericism is really the witness of the past, where only a few people who had a conscious level high enough, could get access to this kind of information that would sort of enlighten a person about stuff like energy work and energy healing, because if this is going into the wrong hands, it can be misused. It can be misused as magic or voodoo, and stuff like that, so basically the dark side of the force. And so you have to understand that some, not all of them, but some of what we sort of perceive as sort of underground information, that is coming forward now, was held back not because we were, just sold for dumb. Now, there is an aspect to that, and that is, of course, that, if you want to be able to control the masses, you can't really give them certain tools or power tools. But this is now sort of, we're now as a collective breaking free from that. So we won't, the powers to be, or whatever you want to call this, won't really be able to do this. The only thing that they can do, and this is the thing that I wanted to talk to you here about today, because this is something that we're going to see next week, is they can control the narrative. The narrative, guys. The part, that we tell ourselves over and over and over again, or that we are being told over and over and over again, until we forget that it was a lie. That's a quote, by the way. Does anybody know where that's from? It's from a TV show. So the point here being is that, some of the pain that we are experiencing, especially here in our sixth chakra area, okay, so that's our temples, that's, our forehead, the neck of, the back of our neck, the sixth chakra. These are symptoms of, our perception really, well, actually resisting something, okay? There's a resistance to truth. And this is the part here that you need to understand. When you, and I have experienced this myself last week, when you get into this place where you're completely foggy, where you like headache, and where you like super, you just want to check out, this is when you have to pay attention. This is when you have to be super present. You have to ground yourself, you have to center yourself, and you have to clear yourself. I talked about this last week. Energetic groundwork, guys. We just had a wonderful intensive where we taught people how to do this. Because you as an empath, you as an energetically sensitive, have to accept that you're going to have to do more of this. You're going to have to clear more, you're going to have to ground more, you're going to have to center more. Why is that? Because you're sort of half awake and half asleep. And you get all these physical symptoms, but you don't yet know what all this means. The contextualization part is still difficult for you, especially for newly awakened people. And this is where people like myself and this sort of first wave, this first generation of empaths come in, We've been going through this for more than 40 years. We have gone through all the ridiculing and the crazy making and you call it, and we've got so resilient to it that, we can go out on Facebook and talk about these things as if they were the most normal thing in the world. Because for us, they are. And for roughly 20% of the population, they are as well. And this includes you guys. So the task here, and this sort of correctional energy, and what we need to do next here, is to go into self-responsibility. And self-responsibility does not mean, going against, the shadow government. And no, self-responsibility means energy management, self-mastery, and especially for next week, guys, responsibility. There's a beauty in the English language, okay? There's a code in the word responsibility, the way we should understand it. Not like as a chore, not like as something that is negative or that we could get punished for if we're not doing it well. No, there's responsibility, and what does this mean? It's the opposite of reactivity. So the energies next week are in red here, as you can see. It will trigger a lot of emotionality, a lot of reactivity in people, and it can get pretty nasty. It can get pretty aggressive. I forecasted domestic violence, for this period of time. It doesn't always have to play out in this super brutal way, but we will see this in the collective, like out on the streets, and this has been escalating anyway. But even in our homes, even in, with our kids, okay? So don't be surprised if your kids are going to go through one tantrum after another this next week, okay? Because all these inner unresolved conflicts, all this energetic stress is going to be translated into like a lot of reactivity, a lot of aggressiveness. Okay, and it feel like you have to defend yourself. It will feel like you have to come up with justifications, and you will feel guilty for some things that you do because they won't really be the most graceful thing, that or the most graceful way that you could have dealt with things, and you got to learn how to forgive yourself for that and how to reconcile with that. So responsiveness basically means to stay centered and grounded enough to experience everything that is going on, even if it is your own physical pain, and to have enough time, to make a choice, a conscious choice as to how you want to respond to it, not react. You'll see this a lot in people. And, one of the other side issues that have been going on here for 2-3 weeks now is dealing with masculine and feminine energies within. And you will particularly feel this in regards to, these really long-standing issues with your parents. Okay, your mom and your dad, they are the sort of the first representation of these primal divine energies, and most of us have some kind of trauma there. Not that our parents are bad, no, but they have their own karma, they have their own limitations. So they bring in, a certain limitations, insufficiencies into our life, and sometimes they are just there as a sort of karmic supporting actor to bring up that that wound in us, so that we can be guided to our karmic task here in this lifetime. What it is that we need to resolve in the bigger scope for ourselves, including the kind of job, the kind of family, the kind of place, and the that helps us to develop this authentic vision of ourselves and future for ourselves, purpose and fulfillment and so forth. And so you will be confronted a lot with either direct, by your parents, or immediate family telling you all the things that are you doing wrong and how mean you are, or vice versa. You will feel like you have to do this, and you'll see this battleground going on here, and it's really just sort of inner children fighting with another, one trying to support, his own narrative, and the other one trying to control his narrative. And the narrative, guys, is the story that we tell ourselves. It's basically the ego story that we've all formed, over the course of our lifetime, that justifies, the stuff that we do that we're actually not really proud of. So it's linked into shadow work, and this, we're big here at transCODES, providing you and training you how to do all these things. So just make sure for the next week that you stay in this responsiveness, and that you make conscious choices. Okay, some of you guys have taken the energy tips from last week very consciously, and trying to change your approaches, and this is still going on. Okay, now latest by the mid of next week, you're going to see massive escalation of stuff. Okay, so when it comes to info, media, and stuff like that, be aware that there is a control going on, but not, the one that tries to victimize you, but the one that, has to evaluate if, sort of the masses can actually handle it. This is coming from a high vibratory place of understanding and contextualizing. So your job for next week will be to see the larger picture. And if you get into a fight with your parents or your kids or your partner, then try to really make an effort to see it from their perspective. If you hear all your critical inner voices come up at once, use this energy tip here from me, and try to locate whom or what situation in your past childhood this voice actually resembles. You'll be very surprised to find out that these critical inner voices, I should have, the you could have, why didn't you, you're such a loser, blah, 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 to find out where these are actually coming from. That's coming from a memory bank inside of you. It's energetically stored. Okay, and to work on all of this, as always, please check transCODES energy healing, energy training modalities here. We have ongoing public sessions. We have programs, programs for a whole self-healing community. And then we have individualized, private programs for people who really want to work through things, the Heart Warrior program, the Energetic Training Club, the Sacred Self-Healing community. And we also have a Patreon account. And guys, thanks for your patience. We're working on this, so we're going to slowly migrate, with all these in-depth articles that I've written in the past and that I will write in the future. They will be paid content, they will be preferred content, only because, I have not, over the last 8 years, not been monetizing them, and I can see that I'm educating, you guys, and I know a lot of you guys really appreciate the information, but this is not flowing back to me. So this is the part, where I have to make sure that the energy chain exchange is right. Now, and I promise this will be the last thing I'm going to say, because I want you to share. We're going to have this Q&A here in a minute. I'm doing these Facebook live streams now from now on. And one of the perks here is going to be a giveaway. Okay, so every live stream, every week, I'm going to have a giveaway. And this week's giveaway will be a free Patreon membership for $10 a month. So that's like basically $120, where you get 10% discount on all transCODES products, and you get the preferred content. So the first 5 of you, that go to the Facebook Sacred Self-Healing Community Facebook group, and become members. You're going to get a free Patreon membership of the $10 a month tier from me. So this is your chance, guys. Go to the Facebook group called Sacred Self-Healing Community and, become a member. And the first 5 of you will become, subscribers for the Patreon content for a year. Yeah, so good luck on that one. The Patreon subscribers will receive an additional video with the more specific energy tips for you, the physical, the emotional, the mental, spiritual, business and relationship related and energetic tips. And send me your love. I want to see some hearts. I want to see some likes here on video. This is the part that I really missed while I was doing YouTube lives. So push the like button, push the heart button, share the energy update, and good luck to those of you who want to win the Patreon membership. It's the Sacred Self-Healing Facebook group, and the first 5 of you that join are going to receive this access to me. I'm going to email you, and or basically you have to send me your email so I can add you to the Patreon. Thank you, guys. Have a good week, and remember, stay grounded and stay responsive. Okay? Thank you, everybody.